All right, let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to keep going in Marty's First Looks. We're going to focus in on Kindle Vella. We've been doing a lot of Kindle Vella serials lately. Honestly, it's because it's a lot of fun, and it's not a really well understood platform. So let me grab my iPad and walk through today's installment. So like I always like to do, I want to start by going over how you get to Kindle Vella and what it is. Kindle Vella is Amazon's serialized fiction service. It's available through the Kindle app, either on iPad or iPhone. It's not on other devices at this point, but we're hoping to get there soon. First thing you want to do when you've got your Kindle application open is click on Discover. And then under Discover, what you'll want to do is select Kindle Vella in the center of the page, which is going to take you to, of course, the Kindle Vella page. Now let's talk about this briefly. First off, stories are categorized by in different categories, and you can see the different category options listed here: mystery, LGBT fiction, paranormal, romance, science fiction, etc. There are a few notable exceptions, some things that are kind of missing. There isn't a horror category as yet, so you'll have to get a little creative if that's something you're interested in. Up at the top corner, we have tokens. Tokens is how stories are purchased. Essentially, you gain access to 200 tokens out of the bat just for trying the service out. 200 tokens buys you a certain number of words or certain number of individual episodes. Additional tokens are priced, as you can see here, $140 for $1.99. Now, each story, each episode, each serialized fiction story, rather, has the first 3 episodes always free. So it's a great way to dive in and experiment with different stories, which you've seen me do on these videos. So speaking of checking out new stories, I do have a story that someone brought to my attention, and I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. I've got the Magical Enforcement and Secrecy Agency files. So we're going to go ahead and hit return, do our search. There it is. It's by Elizabeth Kirke. So we'll go ahead and bring that up now. Now, let's talk briefly about the interface and what we're looking at. Again, we've got the title and the author, and then underneath that I've got icons. The first one indicates the number of episodes. In this case, there are 13 episodes. The second one indicates the number of thumbs up. Think of these like likes, the number of times an individual episodes have been liked by a reader. So that's a really good ratio, 13 episodes and almost 200 likes. That sounds excellent. So now below that, we've got some textual information, which is sort of like the blurb that you would have or the back cover copy, rather, for a story if it were a book that you picked up off the shelf. And then we've got the cover image, and the cover image is in this circular graphic off to the right. So let's go ahead and read the blurb and give you a feel for what this story is about. After surviving a horrific attack, Tom joins the Magical Enforcement and Secrecy Agency in hopes of keeping others from suffering like he did. Teamed up with a loyal werewolf and an elemental with scars of his own, Tom has what it takes to become one of the best agents. But he'll never reach his potential until he can embrace who he is. Mess Files is an urban fantasy mixed with mystery, light on romance, and full of close-knit characters you'll laugh, cry, and fall in love with. Updates Monday and Wednesday. So, right off the bat, we can get a feel for what the story is about. We get an idea as to the overall vision. They give us a summary information as to the series and when our updates will appear. And since this is serialized fiction, that's important to understand, that updates are going to show up when the author decides to add new episodes. In this case, updates appear on Mondays and Wednesdays. Below that, you'll see a list of tags. Tags are sort of what the author has set aside to indicate this story falls under. So elementals, werewolves, found family, LGBT, urban fantasy, vampire magic. So in other words, if those are the kind of concepts you like in fiction, then those are the type of, those are the tags that you would want to look for. And anywhere clicking on any of those tags will take us to other stories authors have tagged similarly. All right, so let's drill down a little further. We've got the first episode. Remember, as I said, the first 3 episodes are always free, and you can see that here, episodes 1, 2, and 3, and the 4th one has a little lock symbol next to it, meaning it would need to be purchased. So let's go ahead and read the first episode. I'm going to go ahead and bring that up now, and I will read to you the first few paragraphs to give you a feel for the writing, and then I'll talk briefly about the author notes as well as thumbs up and other information. So, if only I had a stake. Thomas. I stopped short in the doorway, unable to breathe. My knees gave out and I dropped to the ground, eyes locked on the bodies. No, I mouthed, shaking my head. I couldn't even speak. No. Horror, despair, and shock, echoing my own feelings, passed to me from my family through our bond. She leaned against my thigh, and I could sense she didn't know how to possibly comfort me. I didn't think she could. My father's wand lay inches from his fingers. I wonder if he had even gotten a chance to cast a single spell. I couldn't see my mother's wand anywhere. Maybe she never had time to draw it. I was vaguely aware that there were bodies scattered around the room, but I couldn't look away from my parents. There was a ball of black fur between them. I couldn't tell which familiar it was, but it didn't matter in the end. If my parents were dead, the bond had likely killed their familiars too. Well, this starts out, has a very almost noir sort of feel to it. I like the idea, I like the concept, I like where it begins. We get sort of in media res. We're right at right after a traumatic incident. We've got a sort of almost Potter-like or a sort of Hogwarts-ish feel. I hear wands. I've got wizards and spells. So if this is your speed, and I think it will be for a lot of the people that watch my videos, give it a read, check it out. Let's jump down to the end, and I'll show you what the rest of this looks like. Every single Kindle Vella episode has a note from the author. And what I like to do is I always like to read the note from the author after each episode. It helps me understand a little bit about what they were thinking and sort of where their story is going to go. I hope you're enjoying Thomas's adventure so far. Thanks for reading. If you just can't wait for more, there are also 9 novels and a short story collection that takes place in the More Than Magic universe. Please note, this tale takes place before the novels, so they will contain lots of spoilers regarding Tom's future. Trigger warning. In addition to violence and foul language, upcoming episodes will contain themes of torture, implied suicide, drug use, addiction, withdrawal, PTSD, and references to homophobia. So I think the author is pretty, they're trying to be very helpful here. They're giving you an idea as to, if you like more, where to go to find it, and also if these sorts of topics or themes are problematic for you, you know what to avoid. All right, so one of the last things I want to do is, if you keep scrolling, 2 options will pop up. The option to follow the story, clicking that button will get you updates on your device whenever new episodes are posted. And then also the option to thumbs up. So clicking on the thumbs up gives that story a not only a read, but a like as far as Amazon is concerned. And always take the time to do that when you're reading a Kindle Vella episode. The authors love it. Trust me, as a Kindle Vella author myself, I always like to see a thumbs up. I like to see reads. We like to know that our fiction is being enjoyed. So, all right, let's go back to the main page here. Once again, this is The Magical Enforcement and Secrecy Agency Files by Elizabeth Kirke. It's available on Kindle Vella, so go ahead and check it out. All right, thanks, and happy reading.